He soaked a bunch of model airplanes in the bathtub, then carefully peeled off the logos and stuck them onto forged checks.
Excuse me. You have the most beautiful eyes I have ever seen.
Add in some smooth talking, and just like that, he conned his way to his first payday. After that, there was no stopping him, and he was only 16 years old. Frank had just transferred to a new school, and on his very first day, the school bully picked on him. But he happened to be wearing a suit that day.
It looks like the substitute teacher.
So a light bulb went off. He walked up to the front of the class and wrote his name on the board.
Quiet down, people! My name is Mr. Abagnale. That's Abagnale, not Abagnale, not Abagnale, but Abagnale. Take your seats!
The students were instantly stunned, and the bully completely tamed. He even kept his cool and talked the real substitute teacher into leaving.
I always sub for Roberta.
Excuse me, why aren't you reading?
I'll never come back to Bellarmine Jefferson again.
By the time the school caught on, he'd already taught French for an entire week, and even held a parent-teacher conference.
You what?
Your son held a teacher-parent conference yesterday and was planning a class field trip to a French bread factory in Trenton. Do you see the problem we have?
His extraordinary gift for deception was something he was born with, and it ran in the family. That same year, Frank's father had made it into high society, a successful man with a wealthy household, but luck wasn't on his side. Overnight, a financial crisis hit and buried him in debt, so he fell back on his old tricks.
Darcy, is this yours? I just found it in the parking lot. Must have slipped right off your neck.
He bribed a store clerk with a cheap necklace and got Frank fitted in an expensive suit. With a luxury car and a driver for show, the bank manager treated him like a VIP. But no matter how silver his tongue was, the bank wasn't about to take a risk and lend money to a tax evader.
Sir, you're being investigated by the government for tax fraud.
So his cash flow dried up completely. He had to sell the car, sell the house. The family fell from grace. On his 16th birthday, his father gave Frank a special gift, a bank account with a checkbook. From that point on, his life would be inseparable from those checks. His mother was long used to a life of luxury, so his parents divorced right in front of him, and they put a cruel choice right in front of Frank, asking him to pick a side.
Frank, just write down the name. This will all be over. It's gonna be okay.
But he made a third choice. He ran as fast as he could, straight to the train station. He was flat broke, so he used his father's check to buy a train ticket to New York. In a fit of rage, he left home for good. He drifted from place to place on bad checks. Getting kicked out of hotels in the middle of the night was routine.
Look, it's midnight, Mr. Mudrick. Where am I gonna go?
You goddamn kid, go home.
Survival was a serious problem, so he started scheming. He carefully scraped the birth year off his ID with a blade, making himself 10 years older, and even changed the name on it. The next day at the bank, he put on a mature act, trying to cash a bad check, but the bank had a policy against out-of-state checks, and the teller turned him down, but he came prepared.
Ashley, you know what I found on the sidewalk out there?
The necklace trick, his dad's go-to move that never failed. But this time, luck wasn't on his side. The bank manager had already spotted something off about him.
Is there something I can help you with, son?
He tried several banks and struck out every time, then by chance. A stunning sight on the street gave him an idea. Airline pilot's a prestigious, highly respected profession. So he made a bold decision. He posed as a student and waltzed right into the airline company to do some research. The arrogant supervisor handed him an expired license. With that, Frank called the company and ordered a uniform. And just like that, he transformed into a young hotshot pilot, the most dashing guy on the street, irresistible. With this new identity, he successfully cashed a check at the very same bank that rejected him. The manager even fell over himself, trying to get on his good side.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, John. I'll be back again.
Good.
He also discovered something unexpected. This uniform was basically an all-access pass to free money wherever he went, and pilot payroll checks could be cashed for even more. So he started perfecting the art of forging airline checks, and even hitched free rides on planes.
Are you my deadhead?
He had the pilot routine down to a science, but knew absolutely nothing about the actual aircraft.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
Oh, and he was also afraid of heights. He sweet-talked a bank employee and learned how checks are verified for fraud. Then he picked up a check printing press at a government auction. His check forgery went into overdrive after that, and eventually caught the FBI's attention. His trail of crimes had already spread across the entire country. In less than a year, he'd stolen over $1 million.
I have plenty of money.
First thing he did was buy his dad a luxury car, but the good times didn't last. The FBI had locked onto his location. His forged checks were now identical to the real thing. But Agent Carl had no idea what he looked like. Frank calmly strolled right out of the bathroom, facing the agent. He coolly walked him through all the counterfeiting tools. Everything about him was sending Carl one clear message. He was a cop, too.
You're late, all right? My name's Alan, Barry Allen, United States Secret Service. Your boy just tried to jump out the window. My partner has him in custody.
Carl asked to see some ID. Frank instinctively handed over his wallet, just as Carl was about to open it. Frank seized the moment and pointed out the window, claiming that was his partner with the suspect in custody. In reality, it was just his next-door neighbor.
Hey, Murph. Yeah, call the LAPD again. I don't want people walking through my crime scene.
Just like that, Carl's suspicions vanished, and Frank, carrying what he called evidence, walked right out the door scot-free.
Wait. Your wallet.
You hang on to it for a minute. I trust you.
By the time Carl discovered the wallet was full of counterfeit logos, Frank was long gone.
Hey!
12 years on the force, and he got played just like that. Carl swore he'd catch him with his own hands, but the only lead he had was a name, Barry Allen. He searched for that name everywhere, like a needle in a haystack, until a waitress cracked the code for him.
Barry Allen, The Flash.
He'd been played again, but then it hit him. Only a kid would be into comic books. The check thief was just a kid.
I want you to contact NYPD for every all-points juvenile runaways in New York City.
They narrowed it down and tracked Frank's mother to her new home. They also uncovered his real identity.
Our unsub's name is Frank Abagnale Jr., age 17.
His mother still had no idea about Frank's crimes.
Just tell me how much yours and I'll pay you back.
So far, it's about $1.3 million.
Soon, the Skyway bandit made national headlines. The airline supervisor was furious, but he had no clue the student in front of him was the guy.
Skyway man.
And the media, chasing sales, dubbed him the James Bond of the skies.
Did you say
Bond. James Bond.
As for that nickname, the movie version of Bond filled him with pride. He immediately ordered a Bond-style suit and a sports car, and started spending money like it grew on trees. The fine clothes and handsome face kept the ladies coming. From then on, he was living the Bond lifestyle.
Hello?
On Christmas Eve, Carl got a surprise phone call. It was Frank.
Hello, Carl.
He wasn't taunting him. He was actually apologizing, but Carl could see right through him. He was lonely.
You didn't call just to apologize, did you?
What do you mean?
You have no one else to call.
Carl scored one back. Frank knew getting Carl to let him off the hook was never going to happen. His days as a fake pilot were numbered, so he changed his name and hid out in Atlanta, living the life of a mysterious millionaire. At a hospital, he happened to catch the eye of a nurse named Brenda. That gave Frank a wild idea. He found himself a brand new career.
I'm a doctor.
He cut out a school emblem, coated the back with glue, and carefully stamped a perfect Gothic letter imprint onto paper. Then he pressed on a copper seal, and just like that, he was a Harvard Medical School graduate.
Pretty impressive resume, Dr. Connors.
The fancy diploma landed him a position as chief resident, with 6 interns under him and 20 nurses, including Brenda. During the day, he watched medical dramas at home. At night, he showed up at the hospital and faked his way through. One night, an emergency came in. A little boy with a broken leg needed surgery right away. That was the chief resident's job, but he knew nothing about surgery and hated the sight of blood. Luckily, 2 interns were standing right next to him.
Dr. Harris.
Yes?
Do you concur?
Concur with what, sir?
I think we should take an x-ray, then stitch him out and put him in a walking cast.
Very good, Dr. Ashton, very good. Well, you don't seem to have much need for me. Carry on.
The interns were eager to prove themselves. What they didn't know was their phony mentor was in the next room throwing up from the sight of it. He realized being a doctor was way too risky. When he found out Brenda's father was a lawyer, he wasted no time committing himself to her. And just like that, he had a new plan: become a lawyer.
Thinking about getting back into law.
Oh, my. Are you a doctor or a lawyer?
His answer, he claimed he had degrees in both medicine and law. As for the law degree, he casually said he graduated from Berkeley Law. As luck would have it, that was also Brenda's father's alma mater, a doctor lawyer with 2 degrees. Brenda and her mother thought they'd hit the jackpot, but her father wasn't so sure about this coincidence, so he tested him by asking what a certain old professor named his dog. After his brain kicked into high gear, Frank answered,
I'm sorry, the dog was dead.
How unfortunate.
His answer put that conversation to rest for good, and won over the entire family's trust. Meanwhile, Carl followed the trail, and found Frank and his father's place. As a father, he stood firm and refused to give up his son, but he slipped up. Among the messy pile of letters on the table, sharp-eyed Carl spotted one. It was from Frank. He quickly memorized the return address, and raced all the way to Atlanta. He raided Frank's upscale apartment, but nobody was home. However, he found the fake Harvard medical diploma. Then he brought a whole team to the hospital, but he was one step too late. All that was left on the desk was Frank's check printing machine, which also told Carl something. Frank had already moved on to something new. With his future father-in-law pulling the strings, Frank became a real practicing lawyer.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
As for courtroom technique, his teacher was still the movies.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is irrefutable evidence that the defendant is in fact lying.
It was just a preliminary hearing. No plaintiff, no defendant, no jury in the courtroom. The judge was completely thrown off.
Son, what in the hell is wrong with you?
That evening, the family watched their favorite show and sang along. This warm family had fully embraced him. After dinner, he happened to catch the old couple sharing a tender moment. Frank was hit with a feeling he'd missed for so long. That warmth and love you can only find in a real home. Right then and there, he made a quiet decision. He took a huge risk to hand-deliver a wedding invitation to his dad.
Daddy, I'm getting married.
He was hoping his father would talk him into going straight, but his father knew all too well. Once you go down this road, there's no turning back.
You can't stop.
He was living proof of that. Christmas Eve, Carl's phone rang again.
Oh, Carl.
Frank begged him to let it go. He wanted to leave the life behind, get married, settle down, live a normal life. But by this point, he'd already stolen close to $4 million. Carl was unwavering. He was going to bring him in no matter what.
It's my job. I love my job.
The call was over, but Frank had already given himself away. Carl immediately checked recent marriage records. Sure enough, on Frank's wedding day, the FBI showed up. In a panic, Frank confessed his true identity to Brenda. He showed her 2 suitcases stuffed with cash and wanted to take her and run. He truly loved this girl. They agreed to meet at the airport in 2 days. Meanwhile, Carl had already made it to the door. A bill suddenly flew out through the crack in the door, but Frank had already vanished. That was the 3rd time Carl let him slip away. 2 days later, Frank spotted his fiancée arriving as promised. His heart soared, but then a man in a suit appeared, whispering something to her. Frank's instincts kicked in, and he ducked back into the car. Watching carefully, he noticed an armed traveler in the crowd. Carl's hat in the crowd, cops were everywhere. Hiding in plain sight, he had no choice but to leave Brenda behind. Carl came up empty that day. He'd set up a dragnet with 200 officers, and chose to play the waiting game. Little did he know, Frank was already 1 step ahead. He switched back to his pilot identity, showed up at a women's college, and recruited flight attendants on behalf of the airline. He even ran a convincing mock interview. After his careful selection, every single stewardess was a head-turner. Absolute stunners. They turned every head as they walked through the terminal. Even the agents and cops couldn't help but stare, while Frank slipped in quietly behind them, completely unnoticed. Carl was guarding the boarding gate when he suddenly got a phone call, and right behind him at that very moment, Frank was quietly walking past. Someone reported the fake pilot in the parking lot. Carl rushed his team to surround the target, falling right into Frank's diversion.
Don't shoot me. I'm just a driver. A man paid me $100 to wear this uniform, pick someone up at the airport.
Who are you picking up? Hey!
He'd been fooled yet again. A passenger jet lifted off, and just like that, Frank escaped once more. 6 months later,
South America, Australia, Singapore, Egypt.
The fake checks had spread overseas. They were now virtually identical to the real ones.
He's making real checks, sir. These are so perfect the airline didn't know the difference.
Carl applied to take the case international, but his boss said no.
Sir, we're gonna let him get away.
No, Carl, you let him get away.
Criticized to his face by his superiors, he felt his career hanging by a thread. The answer still had to be in the checks themselves. Then he had a flash of inspiration. He brought the checks to the Bureau of Engraving. Even the veteran technicians were amazed. The craftsmanship on this check was flawless. Apart from them, almost nobody in the country could pull this off. But it required a rare vintage printing press. They had one, and the rest were all in France.
France.
That suddenly clicked for Carl. Frank's mother was French. Her hometown was a small village called Montrichard. Christmas Eve, 1967. Carl walked the streets of Montrichard. He hesitated for a moment, then stepped into a hidden print shop.
Merry Christmas! How is it that we're always talking on Christmas, Carl? Every Christmas, I'm talking to you!
19-year-old Frank was now cornered with nowhere to run. The place was surrounded by police. After Carl talked him down, Frank surrendered. But the moment he stepped outside, the French police shoved Carl aside and arrested Frank themselves. They would lock Frank away in a French prison forever, never to see daylight again. 2 years later, on Christmas Eve, Carl arrived with extradition papers to retrieve Frank. He'd been locked in a fortress of a maximum security cell. His only contact with the outside world was through a tiny slot. 2 years seemed to have broken his spirit completely, so Carl called in a doctor. The moment his guard was down, the man on the stretcher was gone.
Frank.
Frank sprinted toward the exit. Inmates were cheering at the top of their lungs until the warden pointed a gun at him. That's when he finally stopped.
Okay, Carl. Let's go home.
On the flight back, Frank was shackled in handcuffs and leg irons. Carl watched him around the clock. There was one thing that had always bugged Carl. Frank's law license wasn't forged. How on earth did he actually pass the bar exam? Frank offered to trade the answer for Carl's dinner roll, but Carl scoffed and shoved the whole thing in his mouth.
I'm gonna figure it out sooner or later.
Frank's last wish was to see his father one more time before going to prison. Carl's face turned grave as he told Frank the truth.
Frank, your father is dead. I'm sorry.
Learning his father had suddenly passed away, Frank was devastated. Carl escorted him to the restroom. After a burst of hysterical screaming, everything went silent. They had to break down the door. He was gone. Carl spotted screws on the floor. The toilet was connected to the cargo hold.
Frank! Frank!
Frank somehow squeezed out through the wheel well of the plane. Carl could only watch helplessly as he escaped again. But this time, Frank didn't flee to some faraway place. He went to his mother's new home and peeked through the window. A little girl spotted him. She was his half-sister.
Where's your mommy?
He's loaded lots of toys and goodies.
This was the last thing Frank wanted to see. The police were right behind him. Frank didn't resist. He asked to turn himself in.
Get me in the car, please.
Because he had already been replaced in his mother's heart, Frank was sentenced to 12 years in solitary confinement. On Christmas Day, Carl brought Frank the latest issue of The Flash. Carl had been busy lately with a new check fraud case. Frank took one glance at the check and immediately identified the suspect.
It's a teller at the bank.
Say again.
It's definitely a teller, Carl. I mean, banks, they always use hand stamps for the dates. They get used over and over again, so they always get worn out. The numbers are always cracking. The 6s and the 9s. See, they go first.
Carl was blown away.
Thanks.
The next day, he brought in an FBI bigwig and another check. This time, Frank didn't even look at it. He could tell it was fake just by the feel of it.
Paper's double bonded. Much too heavy to be a bank check.
Stunned beyond words, the higher-up gave him the green light.
Frank, would you be interested in working with the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit?
So from that day forward, he'd serve the rest of his sentence working at the FBI.
Welcome to the FBI.
This was his very own office, the Check Fraud Division. One day, walking down the street, he spotted a pilot's uniform on display in a shop window. Back at the office, he figured out Carl's weekend plans. Then he showed up at the airport gate in full uniform. Carl was already waiting for him.
How'd you do it, Frank? How'd you pass the bar in Louisiana?
What are you doing here?
It had taken Carl 4 years, and every trick in the book to guide Frank onto the right path. Because in his eyes, Frank was nothing more than a lost lamb, who could still be saved. He wasn't there to arrest Frank this time. He was there to see him off. It was a leap of faith, because he believed that come Monday, Frank would still show up for work. Monday morning came and went past 10 o'clock. Frank was nowhere to be seen. At the same time, a new type of counterfeit check had everyone pulling their hair out, completely stumped. Just then, a hand reached over and took Carl's magnifying glass. It was Frank. He came back. The two shared a brief look, no words needed. This was a real check, but the name was washed off with a special chemical. Carl asked Frank once more how he actually passed the bar exam, and Frank's answer confirmed Carl's instincts once again.
How did you do it, Frank? How did you cheat on the bar exam in Louisiana?
I didn't cheat. I studied for 2 weeks and I passed.
And true to form, Frank quickly identified the suspect behind this check too. All that was left to do was set the trap and make the arrest. And that's where the movie ends. This film is based on a true story. Fun fact, the real Frank has a cameo in the film as the French police officer who arrests him. In real life, after Frank got out of prison, he helped the FBI catch some of the most elusive financial criminals. He even became a leading bank fraud consultant. And the secure checks he designed are still used daily by Fortune 500 companies. His consulting fees alone bring in millions of dollars every year, which goes to show, if you've got talent and a good heart, you'll always find your place in the world. The right path may be a long one, but it's worth the walk.